Well, that didn't take long. Well, what am I talking about? A few people actually had the gall to tell me, hey, you weren't doing this when you were handling your coins. You guys can probably figure out what that is. And that's, well, wearing one of these. So in this video, we're going to talk about why sometimes these aren't necessary. These are people's little security blanket. But when you talk to some of the more experienced numismatists out there, they're going to tell you that sometimes having these aren't going to be very necessary, and with a good reason. So stand by. We're going to talk more about using gloves when you're handling your coins and the reason why that maybe you should probably not do it at all. All right. Hey, now you know me. All right. I've talked about it. I've talked and have pleaded my case as to when these should be used and how and where and why and all that great stuff. But a little bit of news. This company here, Andenstar, did I get that? Andenstar, sent over a complimentary digital microscope as one of their newest products. They currently have these on Amazon. I'm going to do a video sometime this weekend, just really deep diving into the features, functionality of this device. I've always used Celestron. I actually haven't used it in probably a few months, but I need to go back to doing that. Primarily because my phone has done a really good job at doing those close-up photos, but sometimes a good digital microscope is necessary. So we're gonna take this one for a test drive, or we're going to review it and see if it's good. Based off of what I do know, the early reviews are stunning on this device. So I know there's a few other content creators that have reviewed that particular model. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I usually don't do a lot of product reviews, but I figure, hey, it's a tool that could be necessary. I'm not going to tell every single one of you that are new in the hobby to say go out and buy a microscope, because it's probably the last thing that you need. I'm just going to go out and say it. But when you get to the more advanced developmental level within your hobby, then it might be a useful tool, and it can be. I know when I use it, I use it to primarily to do really nice close-ups, very crisp, clean, very well lit close-ups of varieties and things like that, along with doing like dive marker identifying as well. A lot of varieties have these dye markers that kind of help solidify its attribution. So that's kind of like the big reason why I use that. But sometimes going 100x magnification isn't really necessary. So enough of all that. Getting back to what has triggered a few folks off of a few videos I've done. Primarily my shorts videos. And by the way, if you're enjoying some of either the short videos on YouTube and the TikToks, I've actually uploaded the same video on both platforms because there's two different audiences. And for the folks that don't particularly care about the long form videos like this one, and it's quite a few people, I'll be honest, then go ahead and make your way down to the shorts suite that I have bookmarked, I guess, in its own playlist. So that's available for you guys to check out. Also, TikTok is another way of immersing yourself with some of the content. You're gonna see a lot of like rehash stuff that's been talked about ad nauseum, and that's fine. But it's my personal first time of actually talking about those particular coins in less than a minute. All right, and it's something that a lot of you will appreciate. Again, it's gonna be more or less quick. Quick reference. You can always go into those files that are in that playlist for shorts and enjoy it as you need it. So for all you roll hunters and new folks out there, that'll work out fine. All right, so getting back to these things, there's a couple different gloves that I personally use, I don't use the latex type, all right? I use nitrile because it has no powder in it. Keep in mind, there are some people that are still allergic to these type of gloves. More so because of the rubber or whatever material this is than anything else. You know, some would say, well, I don't use the powdered latex gloves because the powder irritates my skin. And that's another good reason too, okay? But when you begin to get all irritated and weird over here, you know, it's like catching a cold. You know, you're not going to be as efficient as you normally would without it. So when it comes to these things, these have a certain place in society. Of course, the medical field uses it quite extensively, but for the hobby, what I like using for these is coin roll hunting because your hands do get really dirty. And for those of you that actually give a spit about the gunk in the fingernails, then you'll wear one of these because coin roll hunting, I guarantee you, man, you're going to get some dirt under those fingernails. But with coin roll hunting, you're constantly like going through these coins at a rapid pace. All right, not paying too much mind to grade or anything like that. A lot of people that say, for example, roll hunt $50. We understand that these coins are dirty. All right, so when you're sitting there going through the coins, there are still a vast majority of $50 roll hunters who only care about looking for silver. They don't give a damn about the no FG initials, which, by the way, I just did a short form shorts video on the subject. Nobody cares about those, even though they're worth 3 to 4x a 90% silver half find. All right, and they're common as spit. They're all over the place, and they're on a number of dates. But you know, all they care about is to quickly and efficiently go through all of the $50 just looking for the 40 percenters or the 90 percenters. And they really don't care about actually grasping and holding the coin, which gets me to my next subject or my next point is that when you wear one of these, you got to keep in mind, all right, you don't get the tactile kind of like feel of the coins. It almost gives it a little bit of a false sense of touch, if that makes any sense. Because when you're holding a coin, and you guys have witnessed this on a multitude of my roll hunting videos, when you hold a coin, all right, on its edge with your bare hands, you have more control over the coin. You actually feel the coin on your fingertips. Whereas if you're wearing gloves, I know these things are thin, so there's going to be a few naysayers that say, well, it's thin enough, you can still feel it. It doesn't matter, all right? It can be very thin, but when you have something obstructing the sense of touch to the object that you're holding, you're not going to have as good of a grip, all right? But when you're holding a coin, and I know this is going to trigger a few of you folks, all right? See how it pivots like this? If you hold it on a certain area on 3 and 9 o'clock right there, you can pivot it like this. See, as long as you're holding it on the edge, you're fine, all right? I have a lot of raw coins. I deal specifically in raw coinage. I don't really grade too many examples. There's a few, but you know, there might be an instance where I have a coin that might end up being like a mint state 66 or higher, like really where condition really means a lot. I might consider wearing gloves, but at the same time, I want to also double up the protection, have like something else on my desk, you know, that like they have the jewelry foam insert kind of like tray that you could use. And then all I'm doing is working above that. So in the event I do drop a coin like this, it's going to hit that soft surface of that tray and you're going to be okay. You just don't want to, you know, hold a coin, you know, all haphazardly, and you're sitting here waving it around, and then you lose your grip, and that thing comes flying out of your hand. You're more likely going to have the coins still in your hand without any gloves on. All right, so this coin roll hunting, but when you're handling coins, I mean, I think I was holding one of these guys, right? Sally Ride, but same principle. See how I flipped it right on its edge? I'm not touching the surface of the coin with my fingers, okay? Because that's where a lot more of the harm is done, because we all have these natural oils on our skin that gets transferred onto the coin, and then later on down the line it's to end up as a carbony style fingerprint that will not go away. And it doesn't matter if you dip it or acetone it or whatever. So that's these type of gloves. Again, if you know you're going to go through massive amounts of coin, where you're going to be handling a lot of it, whether you're either roll hunting or packaging them back up in rolls, then use these. Okay, I mean, you know, it's going to be your best bet. But when it comes to actually holding and examining the coins, you probably just want to use your fingers. You have more control, you have more touch and feel on the coins than, say, if you had gloves on. All right, and the same goes for these. Okay, these copper gloves right here are a lot more thicker than the nitrile and latex gloves. Something you got to keep in mind with these actually have, you know, little cottony little fibers that fly off of them. Okay, so you got to keep in mind, I see them all flying down here already. So when you're using these things, you have to understand that this is not 100% protection, because when you get those little cotton fibers on your coin, and then you go and store your coins away, after you're done looking at them, that little fiber is going to sit right on the coin. These, yeah, some will say these are archival safe, but what if you're using the same pair of gloves? See, you notice that these ones have kind of like a little tan look to them. These are pretty old. I don't use them that much, but I've used them a few times where, you know, they've gotten a little discolored, and I've actually washed these. But the problem is, when you wash them in a detergent, you also have the detergent on your gloves. So I use a free and clear, by the way, but that really doesn't matter. It's still a detergent, whether it has the fragrances in there or not. So another thing to kind of be aware of. We do know that coin graders use these things only because they're required to prevent, again, inadvertent fingerprints. If you can imagine, coin graders, they go through dozens of coins. You know, they'll go through a batch of them for one customer, and it could be like 1, 2, 3, 400 coins or more. You know, and especially when top pop grades are of the utmost importance to achieve for that customer, they certainly have to wear these. And you know, I can imagine them handling $50,000 coins, $200,000 coins. They're going to wear these as well. So again, this right here, they're okay to use. They're not cheap if you have to buy more. You know, you could buy them in packs of like, I guess, 10 or, you know, 100 or whatever. But compared to nitrile gloves, they are a lot more expensive. So keep that in mind. But still, even with these type of gloves, you lose your sense of touch. All right. Anytime you hold a glove, if you guys are wearing like a cold winter glove, you're trying to, you know, handle certain things outside, like a shovel or whatever, it's a different feeling when you're holding that shovel. It almost feels like you don't have a full, firm grasp on it. Some people will say, well, you're dumb for even saying that. But, you know, it is the case. You just don't have the touch, the natural touch of an item when you're wearing something of a glove. It could be, again, as thin as this stuff. This is very thin and very easy to rip, by the way. But, you know, so I wanted to take a moment to address the few people that did comment on my most recent videos. Not so much I'm salty about it, because I hear it all the time, and that's fine. But these are comments that are coming from folks who are very new in the hobby, all right? But when you talk to any old guy, they're going to say, well, they're going to say the same exact thing. There is a time and place for a specific glove, and then you just have to, you know, use your discretion. Now, if you're a worrywart and you're new to the hobby and you just don't know how to handle the coins properly, then yeah, maybe you should use these. I'm not telling you you shouldn't wear them, but again, when you're experienced enough that you've been around the game to hold these things, and you know how to turn them and flip them in your fingertips, then it's going to be better that way than if you're wearing gloves, you know. And like I said, you guys have watched some of my roll hunting videos, and there are times where I've opened up a roll and I'm sitting here wearing these gloves, and you hear the coins go ding, 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 ding. You know, they bounce all over the table, and I keep making a comment like, yeah, I'm new at this, I don't know what I'm doing, and, you know, all that great stuff. So that's why I wanted to address in this video this morning. Perfect timing too, because we're heading into the weekend, and I'm sure a lot of you will be doing some hunting. You'll be going out there getting coin rolls and going through your daughter's or son's piggy bank, you know, in the quest of finding something neat. All right. So again, go at your discretion. These tools, especially the nitrile gloves, are affordable. You know, you could go to a place like Harbor Freight and get them for like $4 a box or whatever for 100. So a great tool to have, especially for all you roll hunters out there. But also keep in mind that it is not 100% necessary. That's going to go ahead and do it for this one. Thank you guys again for all your views and support. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Go ahead and follow me on TikTok as well, at BlueRidgeSilverhound, if you enjoy those shorter form content videos. But I hope to see you guys next time. I wish you guys the best of luck in your hunts, and I will see you for more coin news. Take care.